Episode 1. The smell of the fish and side dishes my mom sent is disgusting. I hate it. Please, just stop. My son shouted as he hit my cheek. The hand that had patted my back all my life had struck my face. It was the moment my life collapsed. A life spent cleaning fish at the Songnim market since I was a tender 3-year-old, all while pinning my hopes on my only son. My daughter-in-law was hiding her tears in the background, and my son was comforting her. The carefully prepared hairtail and mackerel from Jeju, along with the side dishes I had sent, were thrown into the food waste bin. Do you know how hard it is for Miju because of the fishy smell? She said she couldn't work and cried. I woke up at 4 a.m., soaking my hands in icy water, and with the money I earned, I sent that child to university. I even repaid the 30 million won he embezzled from the company. It was the last of my life's savings, but I gave it because he's my son, and that son hit my cheek. He said he was ashamed of my fishy-smelling hands. That day, I decided to sever ties with my son, and a few months later, at a redevelopment briefing session, a shocking secret left by my husband, who died 10 years ago, lay hidden. Hello, I'm Darang Ari, sharing life stories that bring wisdom and blessings. Before we begin, thank you for your subscriptions and likes. For our subscribers, an opportunity to view our most recent story, which brings light and blessings, will come your way. The first lights turn on at 4 a.m. in Songnim Market. Youngbun let out a sigh as she raised the shop shutter. Her 73-year-old body creaked, but her hands were still nimble. As she immersed her hands in the cold water, each knuckle of her fingers throbbed. Yet, Youngbun picked up the knife with familiar motions. With each sharpening on the whetstone, the swish-swish sound echoed through the empty market alley. So, another day begins, Youngbun muttered to herself, opening the icebox. The hairtail brought in last evening lay glistening. Its silvery scales shimmered under the fluorescent light. Youngbun picked up the hairtail and placed it on the cutting board. The sound of the knife tapping the board had a rhythm to it. The movements of cutting off the head, removing the guts, and deboning were as natural as flowing water. She had been doing this for over 40 years. The fishy smell stung her nostrils. Mixed with the smell of salt water, it felt even stronger. Youngbun wiped the sweat from her brow with the back of her hand. The fish scales stuck to her hand stung, but she ignored them. It's this smell that puts food on the table, Youngbun muttered again. She lowered her voice, thinking someone might hear, but no one was around at this hour. By 5 a.m., the market began to stir. Lights turned on next door one by one, and the merchants appeared. Proprietor Youngbun, you're here early again. The owner of the vegetable shop across the way greeted her. Youngbun smiled and raised her hand in acknowledgement. Of course. The early bird catches the worm, you know. Ha ha ha. You're the queen of the dawn, ma'am. Youngbun laughed and focused on her work again. She took out the mackerel and began cleaning it. The mackerel was slipperier than the hairtail. It kept trying to slip from her hands, but Youngbun skillfully caught and held it firm. By 6 a.m., the first customer arrived, an old woman who looked to be in her 80s. She seemed older than Youngbun, but called her Youngbun. She was a long-time regular. Youngbun, the mackerel flesh looks good today. Pack one for me, will you? The old woman's face was full of wrinkles, but her eyes sparkled. Youngbun picked the plumpest mackerel and put it in a plastic bag. It is good. It was caught this morning, so the flesh is firm. It'll sizzle with oil when you grill it. Youngbun handed over the bag with a smile. The old woman took out money from her purse and said, "You're so diligent. I've never seen anyone so hardworking at your age." Youngbun shyly gave her the change. After the grandmother left, Youngbun picked up her knife again. As the sun rose, the market fully awoke. People began to crowd in, and a line formed in front of Youngbun's shop. "Please clean this hairtail for me." "How much is the mackerel?" "The squid looks fresh today." Youngbun moved without rest, cleaning fish, packaging, calculating, and cleaning again. The fishy smell on her hands grew stronger. Wearing gloves was useless. The smell had already seeped deep into her skin. As lunchtime approached, the number of customers dwindled. Youngbun sat on a chair for a moment to catch her breath. Her back ached and her legs were sore, but her expression was bright. She looked down at her hands. They were wrinkled and rough. Fish scales were stuck under her fingernails, and there were cuts between her fingers. Yet, she was proud of these hands. With these hands, she had raised her son. With these hands, she had fed her family. So what if it smells fishy? This is my life. Youngbun stood up again. She had to prepare for the afternoon trade. She replenished the ice, organized the fish, and cleaned the shop. As she mopped the floor, she thought, Dawoon used to come to this shop often when he was young. After school, he'd run here with his backpack and shout, "Mom, I'm hungry." Whenever he did, Youngbun would take out a lunchbox for him. But at some point, he stopped coming. As he became a middle schooler, a high schooler, and then a university student, he grew distant. They only saw each other on holidays. Youngbun sighed. She missed her son, but there was nothing she could do. Dawoon had his own life now. He had a job, got married, and started his own family. As the sun began to set, Youngbun started closing up the shop. She put the remaining fish in the freezer, washed the tools, and mopped the floor once more. As she lowered the shutter, she closed another day. Her body was tired, but her heart was content. She had worked hard and honestly today. On her way home, Youngbun smelled her hands. The fishy smell was still there. It was a smell that wouldn't go away no matter how much she washed. But Youngbun didn't dislike this smell. Rather, she felt a sense of pride. This smell is my medal. Youngbun smiled faintly and quickened her pace. She had to wake up at 4 a.m. again tomorrow. Another day in Songnam Market would end and begin again just like this. As Youngbun finds solace in her hard-earned pride, a visit from her son and daughter-in-law looms on the horizon. A visit that will shatter her world and lead to an unimaginable betrayal. What shocking act will sever the bond between mother and son?